Hey guys, it's Jay here from Faith Evolved, your favorite spiritual guru, your favorite awakened one, your favorite enlightened master. I'm totally kidding. I'm not even close to being a master. But I will say, you gotta start somewhere. And, as much as I know there's a lot that I do know, there's a lot that I don't know. And let's mute that. I find it quite interesting that most people will have the most confident answer to who God is. They will be so sure of themselves. And a lot of times they will say anybody else, specifically one religion to another, is wrong about who God is, and they have the ultimate truth, you know? So I wanted to kind of shed some light on this topic today because in reality we're just human beings. I mean, yeah, we're spiritual beings too, but on this earth, behind the veil, in this limited space-time environment that we're in right now in this 3D planet, do we really know who God is? Now, of course, I'm not knocking anybody who's had a personal experience with God. I am sure, because most anybody who believes in God has had some kind of experience with God. Whether it's, a vision or, a prayer that was answered or some kind of miracle or something that happened in their life that confirmed to them there is a God. But why is it that there are so many religions in this world if God is unconditionally loving and gives everybody a chance to accept him or deny him? And why is it that, other religions or even denominations within the same religion who claim exclusivity, they'll have some kind of like spiritual, transformative event happen to them, and yet they turn a blind eye to it happening to some other religion or some other denomination, and say, well, they were deceived by Satan or they were confused, and there are some people that are further along in their path and are willing to open their mind to believe that maybe, just maybe, God can work through these other denominations and or religions. But like I said, we're human beings. In the grand scheme of things, we don't know anything about the universe. We can't even get out of our own solar system. We can't cure cancer. You know, we can't go over to a transporter and beam me up, Scotty, or go to a create some food and a replicator like Star Trek. I mean, we can't do these things yet. You know, so how can we be so authoritative on the topic of God, the source of all everything, creation, energy, mind? I mean, everything. How can we both be so sure that we have the answer to this question? Now, that doesn't stop me from speculating, and I'm gonna tell you right now up front that my answer is speculation. It resonates with me, and I'm sure it hopefully will resonate with a bunch of other people. And the whole purpose of this video is to get your mind to think critically and to get you to open your mind and consider all possibilities. And if you're kind of, stuck in your ways on things, that's okay too, because at least you have some more information to go off of and, see what other people think about God. You know, there's Christians in my life that I know for a fact will not agree with what I'm going to say in this video. And maybe it's some good fodder for you to, defend your faith in some apologetics or something like that, what have you. I think there's some value in what I'm about to say. So, who is God to me? I think the best definition I've come up with is the person who is the source of all reality. I do believe God is a person. He would have to be a person. How could we be persons if he's not? It doesn't make any sense. Um, and of course, if you follow the rabbit hole deep enough, there's always a source of something. If you find, you know, a CD-ROM, if those still exist, that says Windows 95 on it, you say, well, the CD exists, but it didn't create itself. So, who created it? Well, a team of software engineers and coders at Microsoft. You know, and so I look at all of reality, not just the physical, but also the fact that there are laws of the universe for the physical to come into, and all the emotions that we have as humans, the ability to think for ourselves, have our own personal existences, separate existences, and just everything that goes into reality and everyday living. I think of there has to be a source of that. So I think God is a source of everything. If there was two options, A being nothing existing at all, and B being, there is existence, then I think at some point existence, would expand eternally, and there will be, infinite knowledge. So eventually, there is, if you go down the rabbit hole deep enough, you'll find there's a source to all of reality and all existence. So that's what I believe God is. My more complex definition is the person who is the amalgamation of all personalities from every reality in every dimension, as well as energy, both physical and non-physical, and mindal and non-mindal. So again, that's, including all the non-personal aspects of God. The Universal Father is what is used in the Urantia book. It says here in right at the start of the book, or after you get past the introduction, it says, "The Universal Father is the God of all creation, the first source and center of all things and beings. First thing of God as a creator, then as a controller, and lastly as an infinite upholder." I also am a big fan of A Course in Miracles, and it says here in the glossary of terms, the eternal, unbounded person who is the creator of all that is real, and who is the goal of all desire. God is pure mind, pure spirit, and is only love. And there's, different beliefs on who God is as far as, how much of we are a part of God. So I think these definitions, I think Christians and most religions for that matter would probably agree with these definitions of God. But what about those people who say, we are God, or I am God, and you are God? Well, even in John 10:34 in the Bible, it says, Jesus answered them, "Has it not been written in your law, I said, you are gods?" And there's some concepts in the Urantia book that discuss how God relates to us. And it says, every will creature on Urantia or Earth at around the age of 6 gets indwelt with a thought adjuster. It also calls it a mystery monitor or a fragment of God. And that spirit eventually fuses with us. And, most people would not agree, I think, unless you're maybe a New Ager, that the thought of we are God is accurate. But even in the Urantia book, it says, here in paper 107, together with their many unrevealed associates, the adjusters are undiluted and unmixed divinity, unqualified and unattenuated parts of deity. They are of God, and as far as we're able to discern, they are God. And if you just go a few papers further, in paper 110 it says, subsequent to the mortal fusion, the adjusters share your destiny and experience. They are you. So I looked at that, and which is quite interesting. Both of them are in italics. They are God. They are you. What does that tell you? Now, I'm not claiming that we're God, like the Universal Father himself, the ultimate source of personality. But what I'm saying is that we are of God. We come directly from the source of all creation. Our spirits come directly, not from some, secondary source or tertiary source. No, we come directly from the source of all creation. And the best terminology that's given to us, and this is found in many books, but specifically the Urantia book and A Course in Miracles, is that we are sons of God. And it's clear that our eternal future is to eventually return to the source, the Universal Father himself. And that's specified, like there's multiple spiritual works that explain, we are part of the source and we are creators. And like our Father, we also have the ability to create. And we have our own creations, according to the Course in Miracles. And we are, in eternity, we're perfect. We would have to be eventually. Of course, we're going through this evolution here, being human. But if you were to extrapolate our journey over the course of I don't know, it's trillions of years, billions of years, whatever the case may be, however long it takes to get to that point, and time and space is just an illusion in the end. But if you were to go through some subsequent time frames, and sequence of events, eventually you'd end up being back to the source and back to having all the qualities God has, with the exception of He created you. That's why He's called the Father. So you can't create yourself. Only God Himself is able to create a new being of Himself. So that's where I would stop and draw the line and say, all right, we are gods with a small g, not the capital G, if you want to use English terminology. So that's what I believe. I do believe that because there's so many hints to it. Even the Bible says the Spirit of God is living within us. It says, "Be perfect, even as I am perfect." It calls Jesus our elder brother. And if Jesus is equal to God, that means eventually we are. I mean, I think of course, the Urantia book says we're faith sons of God. As human beings. If we see ourselves as separate from God, then we are experiencing separation. We are experiencing that we are not the sons of God, or that we are not a part of God. But that's just an experience of the illusion or the matrix that we currently live in. Once we come out of this and the veil is lifted, we will return to our natural estate as sons of God, which we actually are in reality, which is the only true reality of our existence. So I know I'm kind of going off on kind of like tangents here and really getting deep. If anybody wants to talk to me about this, I love discussing, concepts of spirituality and God, comparing different spiritual texts like A Course in Miracles, the Urantia book, the Bible, even stuff like Conversations with God. And lately I've been listening to The Law of Attraction by Abraham and Esther Hicks, and just kind of gathering, as much information as I can to come up with these conclusions that I currently have. And they're always expanding, they're always evolving. And I know that on Earth right now, we have such a limited, perspective that, there's probably realities of God that we don't even know or able to conceive of. Completely, totally different, parts of existence and different dimensions and just things we have no clue. No eye has seen, no ear has heard. The amazing things that God has for us, and that's the beauty of it. It's we volunteered as spirits of God to come down to this low level, this low vibration, this planet Earth, and to start from the bottom and go up. And it's an eternal career, as the Urantia book calls it. It's an eternal journey. It's the journey, not the destination. Although we do get to the destination, it might take Googleplex years to get there, and eventually we're gonna say, we want to do another journey. It never ends, and it's always getting better and better and better. It's spiraling up. It never gets worse. We're always, evolving and growing, and it's a beautiful thing when you really think about it, So don't sweat it. If my version of God is wrong or yours is wrong, I mean, God is love. He doesn't care. He doesn't. He just wants you to experience Him. He wants you to know His love, and to share it. That's really what it comes down to. If you have a son, if you have a daughter, you would have the same exact desire, for your kids. You'd want them to grow and feel love and be able to give love, just like you give to them. So, and there's a reason why it's a natural desire in us, because it comes from the source that we came from. Anyways, hope this information has been somewhat helpful. And God bless. Thank you for watching. And if it's your first time here, check out the other videos, see if they resonate. And of course, I appreciate if you like the video. Click down below to subscribe if you'd like to get notified anytime I release any new videos. Thanks and God bless.